Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is a new interview in my series with autistic women. I'm Tanya, your host, and today I've invited Paulina from Austria. Hello, Paulina.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Paulina has a very interesting story because she had a hard time to get a diagnosis, and after many burnouts, she completely changed her life. And now we want to hear all about that, Paulina. Let us know how you got your diagnosis, please.
Yeah, thank you for raising the question. And I must admit, I'm a little bit nervous because this is my first English speaking interview today. Yeah, first, a little introduction. So, hi, I'm Paulina. As you said, I'm from Austria and I am in my late 30s. And I started my career in IT, so I'm a IT project and product manager. But after my diagnosis and severe burnout, I switched careers and now I am a business coach for neurodivergent folks like me and help others to build and run a sustainable business without burnout so that they can be successful in their working life. And how do I get there? Um, I always knew I'm different, but I couldn't quite point it out where the difference was. And in my late 20s, I read a newsletter article about grown-up autistic women, and she was describing everyday life situations. But she also mentioned what she really feels about it, what she really thinks about it, and what she is doing to seem so normal. And this just hit me. It clicked. And I thought, oh my God, she's describing my life, my inner experience. And then a very deep research phase followed. You know how deep. For weeks, I made a deep dive into the internet. And then I was sure I am autistic.
Yeah.
But besides my husband, I haven't told anybody else because I was satisfied to know it for myself. And years later, Corona came.
Mhm.
And like many families, also in my family, we had a lot of trouble. And I went to therapy. And after a couple of hours, the therapist said, the way you are describing emotions normally Asperger's do. And I
Mhm.
was so happy. I thought, I'm not crazy.
Mhm.
The professional sees it too, that I'm autistic.
Mhm.
And then I found the courage to seek a formal diagnosis. Unfortunately, I took the shortcut and went to the institute which offered me the first appointment available. Unfortunately, they had no experience with grown up, heavy masking autistic women and tried to diagnose me after 35 years of heavy masking with a children's book with flying frogs in it. That's not a joke. That really happened. The method is called ADOS and is the most used therapy diagnosis instrument for autistics. Yeah, and I got misdiagnosed. And they, I got a diagnosis which was the opposite of what I feel inside because they diagnosed me with I'm not interested in other humans. And for me, it's the opposite. I'm very interested and very communicative and social, but it's quite hard sometimes for me. And so I didn't want this to be the last diagnosis I have and went to another institute, the specialists, waited for months to get an appointment. And there I met with a therapist who was experienced with autistic grown up women. And she managed to have a look behind my mask
Mhm.
and see what I am doing and what I'm struggling with to seem so normal and successful.
Mhm.
And then I got my diagnosis, and she opened the session with, I have no doubt. And again, I was really happy because she was validating my inner experience, my whole experience in this life and in this world. Yeah, and unfortunately, the work life in IT is quite stressful, especially as a project and product manager. And back then, I also was a team lead, and I completely ran out of capacity and went into a severe burnout a few months after my official diagnosis. And after reflection with my new autism-friendly therapist, I recognized hadn't been my first. My first one was probably at 11, and I had at least five in my lifetime, most of them during my working life.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to change. I had to change my life to be able to work until I can retire and without being in a constant burnout loop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I tried it again with a new employer. I told them about my diagnosis. I even organized help for all of us, so coaches which should coach me and them.
Mhm.
No one talked to me, no one gave me any tasks. And then I found out that they wanted me to do tasks I weren't paid for because they were tasks considered for the next higher position. And I refused to do them. And after 7 days, I stood up and just quit. And this was the point where I recognized and finally recognized that no employer will give me the conditions I need
Mhm.
to healthily and sustainable work until I can retire and have a private life besides. Um,
That's
so I founded my own company.
yeah.
First, I
It's shocking that most employers will not give you the accommodations we need. It's also my experience, and I'm sure the people who are listening today will have the same experience. Yeah. It's shocking. So you started your own company and now you're a business coach for
yeah.
neurodivergent people. Yeah.
And for me, the problem had been I am a high performer. I always had worked in high performing jobs. I have several business degrees. So I studied and all the stuff, and they just see the successful me, the mask I created so that I'm accepted. But when I come and say, hey, I'm struggling with meetings which are longer than 2 hours and I can't attend 2 days trainings because I'm sick afterwards because of it, they don't believe me because I'm a high performer. And so each accommodation I'm asking for, they just judge based on the outer experience I created for them, but not on really my inner experience. And it was hard to admit this, to accept this. And I saw that I have to create my own space, my own way of working and living. And that's why I founded my own company.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I haven't started with the consulting for neurodivergent business owners. I started in IT with agile coaching, but it doesn't really fit. And then I started I gained experience with building up my business, accommodating myself because it was hard to find accommodation which are relevant and which really work for me as an autistic woman. So I had to find my own strategies, to find my own methods, to distinguish between things I can't do and things I have to adapt so I can follow them. For example, marketing advice. I can't post daily. I often have weeks or even 2 weeks in a row where I can't even comment on articles or other YouTube videos because I'm out of energy.
Mhm.
And if I'm trying to follow all this standard marketing advice, I'm in burnout again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, you said earlier also that all these marketing gurus you find online, or like the common practice in marketing and stuff like that, online businesses that you post every day and so on, is done or it's made by neurotypicals, but it doesn't
Yes.
work for us, right?
Yes. And since I had to go through it myself and find strategies myself, I last year I thought, why not sharing it with others? I've come so far. I studied economy. I worked as a product manager, so I'm experienced in creating and also launching products. And now I also built up a business myself, neurodivergent friendly, customized to my needs, customized to the needs of my neurodivergent target group. Why not sharing it? And that's when I founded Autismus im Job, so Autism at Work. It's my website and also my channel on YouTube, where I create content like you do, but especially from my everyday experiences, how autism affects my life and especially my business. And what are my coping strategies to accommodate myself and also build a successful business? And based on that, I also coach others to build up their system, especially when it comes to marketing. So, what is my target group? With which part of the target group I can really earn money? Which offers would attract them? And which content strategy I should follow to attract customers and also sell my products and stay engaged myself. Very important for neurodivergent folks because we tend to lose motivation and energy if something is not interesting at all for us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so, but what, other than the burnout, what are the limitations you experience every day due to the autism?
Um, I wouldn't call it limitations because now I really created a system what works for me. The hardest part had been to say goodbye to the neurotypical Paulina everybody told me I could be if I'm just trying hard enough,
Yeah, yeah.
and let go of all those beliefs they told me and all those things I thought you had to work and how it should work for you. This was the hardest part to really let go those things and find my way, find a way which works for me, which looks completely different than for others. Yeah. I can't follow a I love routines, but I don't have a sustainable productivity because as a autistic person, I have uneven productivity. I have days or even weeks where I can do the bare minimum. And then I have weeks where I'm overrunning of ideas, motivation, and energy, and I'm accomplishing tasks where others would need a month.
Yeah.
And going with this flow is essential, especially as a business owner, to really be sustainable, successful in your business. So I am now accepting when I have a low energy day that it's a low energy day. I'm not pushing myself. I try then to reduce meeting scheduled already to the bare minimum I really have to do on this day. For example, if it's bookkeeping and so on, or very important meetings with customers, and all the rest will be rescheduled, and I will go to my couch and rest. Because I know when I'm resting on this day, the chances are high that on the next day I'm feeling normal again and can work normally. And if I'm pushing over it, I have a high chance that I will be sick not just for one day, but for several days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, for example, one of the things I had changed. What have I changed? To, for example, the room I'm working in. In IT, before Corona came, um, remote work wasn't that common. So I was sitting in open space offices with 10 to 50 other people. Someone always were on the telephone or in a meeting or just chatting or moving or wanted to do small talk with me or interrupting me in my work. The temperature wasn't right, the light wasn't right, and so on. So completely sensory overload all the time. And now I'm working 100% remote in my own room where I am in control of the temperature, of the light, of my seat, of everything in here.
Mm.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
also essential, rest. I had been raised to shame myself for resting.
I think
So
many of us will have that problem. Yeah. Yeah.
many of us do, because if you're just resting, you're unproductive.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not true, especially if you're neurodivergent. It's not true. You need rest. If you're not resting, you're crashing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we need to learn it.
Yeah. And that's also an essential part for me, having enough rests in between. For example, for meetings, you may have noticed because you booked via my booking calendar. Um, we have 50 minutes of meeting and then 10 minutes rest. And then the next would go on. And this is, for example, a way I'm accommodating myself. Or, for example, I raised my lunch break from 30 minutes, which is legally needed, to 1 hour, because I need 1 hour rest at lunch. And I'm feeling so much better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I even take a nap after dinner, lunch, dinner.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are some coping strategies. So you said you had sensory problems, of course, working in a big office, and now you coping strategy. Your main coping strategy, I think, is taking back your control and working remotely. Then all these problems don't arise anymore, right?
It's not the main, it's just one part of it. So the sensory input, using it, and all the other things clicking together, the energy management, the time management I can now introduce, because now I decide about my time, not my employer. If I'm just working 2 hours on this day, I'm just working 2 hours. If I'm working 8 hours, I'm working 8 hours. And no one is telling me to always work 8 hours. And so this is really freeing, and it's really important for me to have a somewhat sustainable productivity, and also to be always in a good energy and not, don't feel sick, because before I had been sick for 6 weeks per year,
Oh,
and now I'm sick for 2 weeks per year, just to see the difference. So
yeah.
that's why for others it might seem limiting, because no, I'm not working the way everybody tells you you have to work. But in my opinion, this is a way of working which now fits my needs and allows me to work constantly.
Mm, yeah, that's great achievements, Paulina. Super. To anyone watching, um, if you need more coping strategies, there's a link below in the description where I give away my best coping strategies in everyday life. So, you want to mention a few more, or do you think that was it? Your coping strategies, or talking about limitations due to the autism?
Especially when it comes to running your own business, a coping strategy is also time management. For example, there are, if you have, if you're struggling to estimate, is it now 20 minutes or 1 hour? There are great visual clocks where you can set, for example, 40 minutes, so you always see how much time you have left. So you don't have to have the feeling for it, you just see it.
Ah, what's the name of this?
Um, I would have to look it up. I can't remember it, especially not in English, but maybe I will send you a link afterwards and you can put it in the description.
Yeah, yeah. Is that
Uh,
something that is on the screen or is it something physical?
it's something physical
Ah, cool.
and really big clock where you can directly see it. Really good tool.
Okay.
Or what else? For example, I held a training for therapists a month ago, and there I introduced a very good time and energy management. So on the day of the training, I just worked until lunchtime, rested in the afternoon. The training had been in the evening, and also for the next day, I started working for lunch. So um, I tried to give myself enough rest before and enough rest afterwards because I knew in this group setting with 50 people I don't know, it will cost me a lot of energy. And I replenished enough because of this things I came up. And also, this is very important for autistic and, for example, also ADHD people when it comes to socializing events.
Oh, yeah.
If you're attending socializing events for business purposes, have a look into your energy management, how you balance the energy, really a lot energy you're losing because of this socializing event beforehand and also afterwards, so that you're not falling sick. And reduce the time you can't work to a minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But there are a bunch of more coping strategies. For example, I love to use ChatGPT, which is helping me just to structure my thoughts
Yeah, 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 that's true.
and also to write without errors.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm always letting it correct my grammar and spelling and stuff like that. And such, I want to encourage you all to look out for those tools and to use them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like ChatGPT because I am learning to ask better questions and more clear and precise questions.
That's true as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Paulina, thank you very much for this short interview. We're glad that you are now amongst us and helping us to create our own businesses. So we will link all below in the description. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, they are welcome to do that and be coached by you. Would you like to say something for anyone who's listening today? A take-home message?
Yeah. Um, if you're thinking about founding your own business, just do it. Yeah. But take your time. And if you already have founded it and now think, after this interview, I see it's not really fitting my needs. Um, I want to encourage you to just change it. It's your business. And it should accommodate you and give you the chance to come up for your living expenses by your own and have fun and be sustainable enough so that you can do it on a long term. And if you need help by doing it and changing it, get help. It's not a shame if you ask someone who has already done this step to ask them, how have you done it? And to really let someone else help you. And if you want to work with me, I would be really pleased. And you can find my coaching package on my website, which will be linked then in the bio, I'm sure. And although my website is in German, for sure we can also do it in English. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Paulina. Have a good day. And if you
Thank
thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Paulina. And if you're listening and you want more support, grab my book. The link is also in the description below. Ciao, bye bye.